Hi, Maya.
Hi,
How are you?
good and you?
I'm good. Thanks for joining us on this Friday.
Yes, no problem.
Um, I wanted to first start by talking about the project that you just did with us and how that was for you. I mean, it's obviously super special. Um, and I'm glad that it was for Black History Month. So I want to talk to you about that and see what other things that you're passionate about. We do these to basically give people ideas and creativity. We have
Mm,
artists in 150 countries, so they listen in and they get some inspiration. So we're looking forward to be inspired by you.
okay. Well, the project that I just did was with Random Penguin House, and it was for their book collection for Black History Month. And basically, I just I tried to think about like how to incorporate the books with a vibe instead of just seeing the books, you know?
So there are
Um,
basically 14 books, right, that you got? And they're all by Black authors, including Obama's book, recent book.
yeah, both the Obamas.
Oh, you had Michelle Obama's book too?
Mhm.
Oh, I didn't even realize that. That's amazing.
Yeah, they sent both of them. And so I basically um, got like friends and family because of the whole COVID situation. So I got friends and family, and I got them to pose with the books, read them, you know, kind of show that I know one specifically was my roommate. She sat behind the books and like the books were in a row around her and opened it, had some open. And it was just like in that moment without her smiling, just looking, I wanted to figure out like how could I make that powerful while still including the books and like tying the two in together. So yeah, I just tried to make a feeling out of it because you see a picture and it's, oh, I like that picture, it's a nice picture, but I wanted
Mhm.
the picture like, oh, I can feel the energy from the picture.
So what was the planning process for you like for that?
um so when I plan for this shoot and like any other shoot, I do write-ups or like mood boards. So I went and found pictures that I thought somewhat would lead me into capturing and posing like everything, and I just put them on a collage, and then I
Where did you
talk
find the pictures?
on Pinterest.
Is it hard because there's not that obviously many photos probably of like something native? Like you probably had to pick like a bunch of staged models that were
Pretty
they weren't
much,
like real people reading Black history books, you know?
yeah. Yeah, yeah, there were a lot, but it made me feel like I'm glad because when I'm looking at these, I'm like, okay, well, I can do something similar, but make it, you know, me, mine.
So how many days did it take you and what was like the process like?
It took me, I think, 2 days because I shot some of it in Atlanta with my family, and then the other set of pictures I took here where I go to school in Valdosta, so I took them here in Valdosta. Um, I it wasn't it was different because I've never necessarily worked with my family in that type of sense of taking more creative pictures with them. Um, so it was interesting, like getting my family dressed and trying to explain to them what I needed them to look like and what I needed them to, show or give off when I pointed the camera at them. Um, but yeah, I made sure I kept the mood board on hand so that they could see if I wasn't explaining it correctly by words, they could see
Mhm.
like where I was coming from and where the thought came from. So yeah.
Was that fun to work with your family? Did they finally get what you do?
I don't know if they got what I do. I mean, they get what I do, but they I feel like on their end it was like, okay, so it's more than just picking up a camera and like, you know, taking a picture. On my end, it was very, very stressful.
Yeah.
Very stressful because my family wanted to become divas. And yeah, but it was good in the end. Like, you know, it was a good family experience.
Yeah. What do you do with the people that are more shy? Like, how do you make them comfortable?
Um, so usually I try to have like a conversation beforehand before I with the models, and then if it's in the studio or even if it's like in the location, I'll have like a speaker or something, let them play music, or if they don't like feel comfortable, see like where they are music wise, because I know a lot of times I don't necessarily like the stage poses. I like to like it naturally or just kind of catch your moments. So
Mm.
through music, I know you can get people moving that way. Um, Even if it's like a little head nod or something, not necessarily like full on dance. And so I try to have music that will make them comfortable and make them feel like they can move. And I feel like I listen to a lot of, I listen to a broad, my music is very broad, like anything that I feel like will get me going, I'll listen to it. And so I'm usually vibing out with them. So then it's kind of like we're just sitting there vibing, and then I just happen to capture the moment and
Got
then
it.
picture.
Well, speaking of music, so I don't know if we told you yet, but 50 Cent saw your photos.
No, no, what?
50 Cent's blog is going to cover you guys this week on it.
Wow, I didn't know.
Yeah. We sent them your bios of the you and with the other artists. There's two other artists, and they're going to be writing about the importance of reading and history and cover the collection.
Wow, I didn't
I
know.
know. We'll be sending it to you. It should be this week or next week that it will come out on their blog, on his blog. I didn't even know he had a blog.
I didn't either.
So that, so to me, I thought that was interesting because like the images then went and showed like, okay, people want to talk about the importance of history and reading and why it's important. So just like you said, it's not just a picture, it's
Yeah.
about what it's trying to tell. Like that's that we also sent it to the Obama Foundation. So they
Uh-huh.
also saw the images and they loved them.
Uh,
So so for me, I was trying to think like, what can I do? Obviously, because it's so unique and it's on our website now on the front page.
uh-huh.
But what do you think in terms of history? Like I was talking with a photographer yesterday about how people forget history like the second it happens,
Yeah.
and we're like disconnected from that, like you seeing the books and touching them and like understanding these people, like trying to explain like what would you want other people to know about that, or what is like the power that you feel like that that you would like to see from either the images or just understanding like, okay, there's history here and like we need people to like know what has happened in the past so we don't repeat that, or
Um,
about the Black experience in general.
I would say honestly, I was taught that, and I'm pretty sure a lot of other people were taught that knowledge is power. And so when you look at the photos, my thought process of like choosing what I would send in was, if I'm looking at this photo, I see the books, I see the Black girl, um, she's reading a book, and it's a lot of statistics on like African Americans, and like reading, and if they read, they don't read, their reading levels. So it's not for it to be books of like our history. It's like it's important to educate. Like when I look at the picture, I want you to feel like it's very important for you to pick up these books and read it. Even if you just like the cover of it, it'll get you to pick it up. And then you look inside to see if the inside matches the outside, or like the Bible the outside. So I think simply to know that through these books you learn so much of stuff you didn't know, stuff maybe you forgot. But it's important that basically, yeah, it's important.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that, like about people reading and like the depictions of, you know, like I don't know, like being educated and reading, and it's so crazy that that would be weird to someone for or like someone to see that, because there aren't any other really images of that, and that's obviously why it was important to capture who was reading it. The out of the books, did you share it with anyone? Did you give any gifts? Did you give it to anyone? Like, did your parents, were they like, oh my God, I really want this book? Or I like the Black Futures one. It's really cool and very creative
My
too.
favorite that book is
Yeah.
my favorite because we read a lot. Well, I read a lot about like the history, like the very, very old history, but it's nice to have like a nice book that's just more recent. And that's pictures that has like a lot of, it's picture heavy, but it's also word, like it's a good ratio of pictures to story
Yeah.
that interested compared to just story. Because I know some
Yeah.
people, a lot of times they won't read it because it's just story. So I kept that one for myself. Um,
You didn't keep all of them for yourself?
I I kept most of them for myself. I gave my little brother, and I gave him a couple of books. I don't remember which one. I think he's in like 6th grade now. So I gave him a couple of books. My parents, they already had the Obama books, the Michelle. They didn't have Promised Land, which is President Obama's, but my mom had Michelle's book. And so,
Becoming Michelle.
yeah, I didn't give it to her, but we talked about it because I haven't read it yet. Yeah,
Yeah, I read it. I liked it.
yeah.
Were there any other ones that you were like, oh, this is so cool?
Um, the book that was written, that the movie Precious was based off of, I think they gave me. I haven't read it yet, but I honestly didn't know that's like where the movie came from. And so my brother like picked up the book and started trying to read it. And so she writes like with dialect. And so he's trying to read it, and I'm like, that's kind of crazy. I like books like that. I feel like it's more raw, or I feel like it's raw when you speak in dialect instead of, I guess, in a way that most people wouldn't necessarily feel it fit. Yeah.
Yeah. You have to like, yeah, some of them you like can't get through, but that it's all about who, like, again, the author is, what they're trying to convey.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many people I feel like have stories that don't get to be with, like, that was the biggest book publisher in the world. This obviously they're publishing the Obama's books, but
Yeah.
then there's obviously people that have so many stories that will never get published or that nobody ever like let get published. Like, for example, I was speaking with another um, one of our customers that uses our photos. He has like an entertainment site, and he was saying that his cousin was trying to print a book, and just because the protagonist is black, they won't publish it because it doesn't fit in context with the story.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's crazy. But I mean, obviously now people can self-publish. You can go on Amazon and write your own stories. But it's like this uphill battle, I think, not just on the photography side and in representation, but in the whole storytelling aspect.
Yeah.
Like, these are just a few stories and a few authors that you get to see, but think about everybody else.
Yeah. I agree. That's crazy. That's crazy.
because they think like, oh, the general public won't read this, or it
Yeah,
doesn't relate to everybody. But obviously, these books are relatable. Like Black Futures is relatable to everyone.
Black
Um,
definitely. That I really love that book. Yeah, like from the look down to the content. It's a great book.
yeah, yeah. Well, so you're in school now. What are you studying?
I'm studying mass media. I am thinking about changing my major though to elementary school education.
And what would be like your dream in your life?
Um, Ultimately, my dream is to be a published photographer, um, and create
Which you already
work.
are.
Yes, yes. Well, to continue to be a published photographer, but to create work that, if you look at it, you'll know it's mine. Like, you'll know I'm the one that took the picture based off of what you get from it. Um, yeah, I just want my pictures to make everyone feel something. And it doesn't matter in what kind of way, shape, or form. I just want them to look at it and, maybe have a happy memory from something that they saw in the picture or anything like that. And then also to work like with kids. That's why I was thinking about changing my major, because I do like to work with kids. I like to feel like I am making a change in somebody's life. And I feel like that starts at a young age. So, yeah.
Is that something from your childhood where you feel like, oh, I wish that I had something, or why do
I,
you like kids so much?
I think it's definitely it's not that I wish I had. It's stuff that I wish some of my other family members had or some other peers. Because personally, I grew up in the Boys and Girls Club.
Oh, you
Um,
did.
Samuel L. Jones Boys and Girls Club is where I was all the time. Um, and they were very supportive with everything, like pictures. That's honestly when I started becoming more confident in my pictures, because I won a photo contest through the Boys and Girls Club. And then they even went back to hire me. So to have like a connection like that, to have people who even till today, I can call or text for a
Mhm.
recommendation letter or even just to check up on stuff like that.
Yeah.
I feel like it's only fair for everyone else to have that. And I know that, like, in reality, everyone doesn't have that. But the more people that are more open to being that for somebody else is important.
That's amazing. And for everyone that doesn't know, what is the Boys and Girls Club?
Okay, so the Boys and Girls Club is an organization for all the kiddies, from elementary school to high school. And it's just the organization that it's like after school care. Um, they have like different activities and events and stuff. They get you ready for college. They have all types of like scholarships, internships. Very well. It's a very community based organization.
And what's the goal of it? To help people get into college?
Yeah, so it's to create brighter futures. It's literally like their slogan. They want to create brighter futures, which I think they do. I really truly believe they do.
And they have them everywhere, right? Or like
Mhm.
in major cities?
Yeah, they have them pretty much everywhere. I know they have this thing called Keystone Conference. I went to, I think, last year or the year before last, and it was my first year going, and it was the Boys and Girls Clubs from all over the world
Yeah.
um, that attended the conference.
That's great. I'm sure meeting those people is going to help you like later on.
Yeah, it was fun.
So what's like the hardest thing about being in college today? I know we're like in a pandemic and like everything's difficult.
Um, it's being it's I don't know. I would say not being committed, but not letting yourself get sidetracked with everything mostly being virtual. It becomes overwhelming. And it becomes, I feel like for me personally, it makes me feel like I work not as hard as usual because I'm doing it from home. And so I'll stay comfy. And it's trying to get myself up and moving my surroundings, I guess. You know, changing my surroundings for when I do my work. And then also events, because being involved on campus and the different orgs on campus helps, in my personal opinion, it helps me want to do better in school even when I don't feel like it, because our orgs hold us to certain GPAs and expectations and stuff like that. So the orgs help push academics as well.
Yeah, it seems like community is really important for you.
Yeah.
And is there anything that you think that people are like doing artistically that's different? Like, do you think people are, because I see a lot of people creating YouTube channels and like way like more self kind of brand focused, like they're focused on their own brand versus like trying to go get a job, you know? Do you feel like a lot of people are trying to be more creative and work on their own passions?
I feel like they are, and I definitely think they should, because there's room for everybody. Somebody is going to like you. Somebody's going to like your work because they're going to relate to it in some kind of way. I think that I definitely see a lot more self-portraits. And I love it because I know personally I'm not the type of person, like I'm a photographer, but I don't necessarily like to be in front of the camera, you know.
Yeah.
But when we are limited on like having models and stuff like that, we have to get the creativity out so it's not just stuck in or forgotten about. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much, Maya. I really appreciate talking with you, and we'll send you the 50 Cent article when it comes out and let you know if there's anything else we can do for your photos and like, you know, get more people to see them.
Yes.
And stay safe.
You too. Thank you.
Bye.